Part 60. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 591. My benefactor, please accept my respects from my husband and wife. No, 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 you must not worship me again. Please spare me. If you worship me again, I will go to the west. Xiaoming hurriedly helped up Li Huamei, Richard, and his wife who had fallen to the ground. When Richard was turned into an undead, the two of them had already thanked him profusely. Researchers also received rewards that were far beyond their expectations. This is enough. I didn't expect them to be so grateful. Xiaoming felt guilty and hurriedly helped the two of them up. It was already evening, and the military meeting was held until late. After the meeting, the researcher was invited to Li Huamei's home for a banquet. The couple welcomed the researcher into the mansion and knelt down to salute. This made Xiaoming feel at a loss. During the family banquet, apart from the serving maids and servants, there were only 3 of them. None of the other senior members of the Li family pirates were invited. My benefactor, please drink this cup to the full, Richard toasted to the researcher solemnly. Brother Li, Admiral, please. Please don't call me my benefactor anymore. I feel uncomfortable when I hear this word. If you really think highly of my little brother, just call me brother. After that, Xiaoming drank the wine in the cup in one gulp. Okay. Brother researcher, you are so happy. Li Huamei was still happy. From now on, you are my sworn brother, Li Huamei, and I am your eldest sister, he. Xiaoming quickly said, he is brother-in-law. Right. Wrong, it's the second brother. Ha ha ha. The 3 of them looked at each other and laughed. There is no ritual of beheading a chicken or burning yellow paper. After Li Huamei's words, the 3 of them became brother and sister. Too casual? No. The system has recognized it. Congratulations to the player researcher for becoming the first player in the game to marry an NPC. Li Huamei's favorability towards the researcher is fixed at above 90, and Richard's favorability towards the researcher is fixed at above 90. All 3 of them gain the passive status of 3 brothers of one mind. The effect is, when any 2 of the 3 brothers go into battle at the same time, the individual defense power is temporarily increased by 10%, when 3 brothers go into battle at the same time, the individual defense power is temporarily increased by 20%. Xiaoming actually has a similar passive skill. It is also a general passive skill. More people are more powerful. The effect is much better. When there is a clone, the attributes of the main body and the clone are temporarily enhanced by 1-10%. It's not just about simply enhancing defense. Annoyingly, these 2 states don't add up. It just takes the maximum value in terms of defense power. Even if it only increases defense, it would be a surprise. Xiaoming did not expect that the Magic Planet game has been open for more than a month. He could actually become the first person to marry an NPC. And there is this benefit. But then I thought about it, I will definitely fight independently in the future. There are very few opportunities to enjoy the passive bonus of 3 brothers of the same heart. On the contrary, it is the eldest sister and the second brother. They are inseparable as husband and wife. They always enjoy passive bonuses, which is clearly benefiting themselves. Becoming a brother to an NPC is something that players have already guessed would happen. Players have even figured out that there is a passive state. No matter how many brothers are sworn to Jinlan, the upper limit of the passive bonus will not exceed 50%. And according to the number of brothers competing at the same time, they are divided into different ranks. On average, a brother increases by 5%. Because Li Huamei, Richard, and the researcher were the first to form a sworn alliance with Jinlan, the effect was doubled. In fact, the more brothers who are sworn brothers to Jinlan, the higher the upper limit of the passive bonus. But it is also more difficult to achieve. It's not just a matter of sufficient goodwill between the player and the NPC. The NPCs also need to have enough goodwill towards each other. Of course, at least 3 people are required to marry Jinlan, and there is no limit to more. That's why Richard had to be the second brother, not the brother-in-law. There is no doubt that only if the favorability is high enough, that is, above 90, you will have the opportunity to marry Jinlan. It is not difficult for professional players to increase the favorability of NPCs towards their own characters. However, those who can make a sworn alliance with Jinlan are not ordinary NPCs, they must be important figures. The favorability of such an important NPC is obviously very difficult to increase. Therefore, no professional player has been able to reach this point yet. Only Xiaoming, who cheated, became the first player to win this honor thanks to his life-saving grace. Xiaoming remembered that after they had just resurrected Richard, the couple's favorability towards the researcher was 70. After giving away a large ship, both of them were raised to 80. Later everyone parted ways. What Xiaoming didn't notice was that the couple's favorability towards Xiaoming continued to rise in the following time. Maybe it's because they live a happy life and think about their source when drinking water, maybe it's because the researchers have improved the strength and reputation of the Li family pirates a lot, maybe it's both. When the researcher returned to Diao City again, his favorability level had risen to 90 trust levels. Therefore, Xiaoming's casual words successfully triggered the incident of sworn friendship with Jinlan. It is equivalent to a delayed reward. There is one biggest benefit to this matter. The researcher became the leader's younger brother, and the number of jealous people was greatly reduced. And Xiaoming was lucky enough to see a little bit of the true strength of his eldest sister and second brother. Li Huamei, strategic profession, senior pirate admiral, great swordsman, level 3 to level 13. Adventure profession, level 5 great swordsman. Xiaoming has some understanding of the swordsman profession. The great swordsman is actually a level 3 profession. The level 4 can be promoted to the crusader, and the level 5 can be promoted to the crusader of light. Unfortunately, Li Huamei chose the pirate profession and could not develop in the direction of the crusader. And it seems that no other direction has been found. Richard has no strategic profession, and his adventure profession is a level 2 lich. When Xiaoming first resurrected him, he was still level 0. He was promoted to level 2 so quickly. He is indeed a master. As for other information, I can't see it. However, Xiaoming can feel that there seems to be a strange sprout in the body of the couple, containing some incredible power. But it is not any power he is familiar with. Richard's strength is not mentioned, and Li Huamei's strength is actually not particularly strong. It is still far from the level of the overlord that Xiaoming imagined. This is probably the kind of protagonist NPC mentioned in the forum. There are many NPCs of this type in any game. They are constantly growing at a high speed. Let the world pattern change accordingly. Players often gather around this type of NPC because of various tasks. It is said that when one person is successful, everyone else will be successful. The promotion of NPCs requires the assistance of players, and players will also receive rewards for the promotion of NPCs. This will form a good interactive relationship. When NPCs reach the top in the future, players will also have the opportunity to climb to the top. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 592. After becoming sworn brothers, the atmosphere between the three of them became more harmonious and easygoing. Li Huamei and his wife no longer talked about the life-saving grace. Xiaoming felt much better. The three of them ate and chatted, and soon talked about the upcoming battle against the Kyojima family. The main reason for being able to conduct such a battle is that the researcher subdued the three brothers of Kyojima Koichiro and obtained a lot of valuable information. Since everyone is a brother, you can ask frankly. Third brother, how did you do it? How did you subdue Kyojima Koichiro and his men? This group of Japanese pirates is the most stubborn. It is the first time that a Japanese pirate with the status of a squadron admiral has been subdued by an outsider. Richard asked the point. Xiaoming didn't mind answering truthfully. NPCs can still be trusted. Especially NPCs with a favorability of more than 90. Xiaoming showed the attributes of the strategic treasure Yada mirror. The two suddenly realized. It turned out to be this kind of treasure with strong directional characteristics. Thinking about the upcoming war with the Ladeo family, this treasure can play a great role. Li Huamei was tempted to ask the researcher for this treasure. It was nothing to be embarrassed about being a brother. However, after seeing the attribute of zeroing out of hand, she sighed sadly. Xiaoming observed her expression and knew that her elder sister was a little unhappy. So he planned to give her a gift to appease her. Eldest sister, second brother, I have learned a strange skill recently. Do you want to try it? It will definitely be beneficial. Since the third brother said so, of course I have to try it. Li Huamei is very confident in her magical brother. Yes, 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 I'll go first. Richard also rushed to try. Xiaoming knew that he was protecting his wife, so he went with the flow and planted the super seed in Richard, the Lich. The game world is full of magical power, and there are corresponding ways to improve the physical and mental attributes of NPCs. It is a more comprehensive power. Xiaoming's super seed can only choose other powers. But what should I choose? Xiaoming doesn't plan to plant all his power. The more the better is only suitable for people like Meng Meng and Wang Zhenzhen who have no ambition. If you are a person with a firm goal, it is best not to have too many abilities. It is easy to result in a lack of everything. This is especially true for the growing protagonist NPC. Moreover, there are many NPCs who are in close contact with Xiaoming, so it is completely possible to do experiments in a scattered manner. Richard was given the seed of the microcosm. He is a lich with a strong spiritual will, and Xiaoming estimates that the microcosm should be more suitable for him. Sure enough, after obtaining the seed of the microcosm, Richard immediately burst out with amazing momentum, and soon restrained it, entering a wonderful state of practice. Xiaoming can feel that Richard actually obtained a microcosm that is no less than that of a bronze saint from the beginning, and it is still improving little by little. Wow! Third brother, what kind of power is this? Can you give others such a strong power? This momentum is almost catching up with me. That's right, a formal bronze saint can generally reach the level of a C-level reincarnation, which is about the same as a 5th-level combat professional. And Li Huamei happens to be a 5th-level great swordsman, which is also the first-class level among bronze saints. Xiaoming waved his hands hurriedly. No, 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 I just gave the second brother the seed of the small universe. It was not strong at the beginning, and it was completely because of the second brother's talent that he could be so powerful. Looking at the table that was broken by Richard's momentum, and the food and dishes scattered all over the floor, Xiaoming said regretfully, "Wrong, we should go to the yard. It's a pity for these things. At this time, the servants cannot be called to come and clean up. If Richard, who is in seclusion, is disturbed, it will be a big loss for a small one. But these garbage are very annoying." Xiaoming used the force to move objects through the air and moved all these things outside the house, piled them together, and the servants came to take them away. At this time, the eldest sister must guard the gate for the second brother. There is no point for the researcher to waste time here. Xiaoming said goodbye and left. Xiaoming does not need to worry about the safety of the second brother. However, the super seed of the eldest sister can only be discussed next time. The researcher did not go to his mansion in Diaokan, but returned to the second fleet. The production of the second-level puppet will be completed by the shadow clones in an hour or so. It is necessary to supervise the finishing. So Huang Xiaoming must stay with the researcher. Once the role is switched, I don't know what will happen. Theoretically, the shadow clone will continue to be produced, but Xiao Ming is afraid that there will be trouble if it leaves the control of the spiritual kingdom. In addition, the researcher also needs to discuss the upcoming battle with the generals and leaders of the Second Fleet. Simply don't switch roles. At the same time, Lu Xiaoming is naturally in the Chu galaxy, leading his insect swarm to the nesting site. Maomoer and Xiao Xiao are transformed into Iron Man and wandered around in the team, playing with various insect humans or insect tribes. The Zergs all knew that this was the child of the Overlord, so they naturally opened their bloody mouths and greeted him with smiles. The smiles of the Zergs, alas, were really not flattering, and they could scare the children away from crying at night. But then again, Xiao Xiao was a dragon, so why would he be afraid of this? On the contrary, he felt that the Zergs were very friendly. He was like a fish in water. Yin Xiaoming's situation was more magical. When he logged into the game, he and Huang Xiaoming played in parallel. Huang Xiaoming was responsible for the 4 characters in the main game. Yin Xiaoming was responsible for the various secret realms. At this time, he was in the Marvel Secret Realm, eating barbecue with the members of the Avengers. This plot was originally an Easter egg at the end of Avengers 1, Iron Man invited everyone to eat Arabic barbecue. Players have the opportunity to participate in this plot, but they need to be qualified to be at the table. Being able to participate in this plot will make the relationship with each Avenger more intimate. There is also a chance to come up with a task. At present, there are no more than a handful of players who are qualified to trigger this plot. The only one who really triggered this plot is Xiao Ming. In the Marvel Special Secret Realm, Xiao Ming's identity is Lance Jacob, a Protoss warrior from Asgard. In the Battle of New York, he made great contributions. But the Battle of New York that Xiao Ming experienced was a test level. When he arrived at the Marvel Special Secret Realm, he found that the Battle of New York in the history of this secret realm was not the same as what Xiao Ming experienced. But the rewards and interpersonal relationships Xiao Ming received will not disappear. The Chitauri dragon battleship floated well in his bright summit. Everyone in the Avengers also recognized him. Seeing Jacob, Iron Man started to nag again. He kept nagging about wanting a live dragon battleship to study. Others were already too full to speak, but he was still talking. This reminded Xiao Ming. Since he could transform the aliens into transformers, could he also transform these dragon battleships into transformers? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 593. Unfortunately, although Xiao Ming's idea was beautiful, it could not be realized. To transform the alien beast into a transformer, shaping was used among the 3 abilities of the creator. The flesh and blood of the alien was converted into metal. It was precisely because the alien was Xiao Ming's beast that there was no need to worry about causing harm to the alien. In addition, the telekinesis directly cooperated with the modification of the settings, so it was successful. However, the Chitauri's dragon battleship was different. This thing itself was a living thing, and the Chitauri modified it. It was covered with heavy armor and rams, and the cabin was hung, carrying a large number of Chitauri aircraft. However, the internal organs, muscles, blood, bones, nerves and other systems of the dragon could not be changed at will. It was not that you could just tear off a piece of the dragon's skin and stick a piece of metal plate on it. Xiao Ming later experimented with this for a long time, but he never succeeded. It was not until his own ability had a major breakthrough that he could really do it. This is a later story. Looking back at the barbecue restaurant in front of them, everyone was full, and when they couldn't move, they could only talk nonsense. Everyone was very curious about Lance Jacob's strength. For now, they only knew that he had a superb ability to tame animals. In addition, they also knew that he had a good ability to be invisible and appeared and disappeared. But it was hard to judge his real fighting ability. So Black Widow took the lead in making a fuss, and Iron Man added fuel to the fire, wanting Captain America, who could fight anyone, to compete with Lance. Thor laughed secretly. Apart from anything else, Captain America's physical fitness of level 3 was not comparable to Lance's physical fitness of level 5 of the Aesir. Captain America could only rely on that shield with extremely unreasonable defense to block Lance's attack. If he wanted to hurt Lance, Captain America's attack power was seriously insufficient. He didn't point it out, so that Lance could suppress the arrogance of these people. So he hummed and said, "No, Steve is not enough, hiccup, plus Natasha, is about the same as Hawkeye." Hiccup. No, 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 I'm not good at close combat, let's forget it. Xiao Ming didn't want to offend the protagonist team, and there was no benefit in winning. Quickly change the subject, Mr. Stark, your combat power is all in that armor. Once you don't have the armor, a pistol can hurt you. Don't look at Iron Man's usual carefreeness, in fact, this problem has troubled him for a long time. He is also a person who likes to show off, and he doesn't want him to be in armor all the time. In addition, his personal strength actually limits the strength of Iron Man's mecha. Especially in the instantaneous acceleration. Ordinary people can generally only withstand an acceleration of 10 g at most. If it is higher than this value, when accelerating, the organs in the human body may break through their ribs, not to mention the skin. Secretly, he is also a little envious of Captain America's enhanced quality. After listening to Lance talking about this, could he have a way? On the surface, she said nonchalantly, "What's the big deal? My R/U0026D capabilities will make these problems not a problem sooner or later." When Black Widow heard Thor's words, she guessed that she and others were no match for this god even if they were 3 vs 1. Immediately, she played the good cop, "Mr. Jacob, if you say so, there is a way. We are comrades who can rely on each other, tell me." I don't know if Black Widow's coquettishness is natural or acquired through training. It's really amazing. If Xiao Ming hadn't been trained by the nine-tailed fox Bai in Miai for many years, he probably couldn't control himself at this moment. Well, I actually have two ways, short-term and long-term. Hiccup, in the short term, I can provide some special body strengthening fluids. In the long term, I can plant the seeds of superpowers in you. As long as you work hard, your combat effectiveness can catch up with the high-level warriors of the Aesir. These two methods are naturally Xiao Ming's life essence and superpower seed. Investing in the protagonist should be the most rewarding. As for the human enhancement potion obtained from the secret realm of Captain America 1, it has been thrown into the textbook by Xiao Ming for analysis. The result of the analysis will also strengthen the original fluid of life. Both abilities require the consumption of source energy. In the game, it consumes much less than in reality. It is just right to exercise more. For any ability, it needs to be practiced and used more to grow. Using it in reality is easy to cause a butterfly effect. It is safer to use it in the game. After the New York War, the Avengers also knew that at least one powerful alien force was targeting the Earth. The opponent's vanguard Chitauri is already several times stronger than the Earth's combat power. It is nonsense to say that the Avengers from the Earth are not worried. They don't know that the Earth is actually protected by the two big guys, the Ancient One and the God King Odin. Of course, they are right to worry, because these two big guys are not going to live long. The Earth without protection will soon become fat meat in the eyes of others. But can this Asgardian be trusted? Is he really so kind? What if there is a conspiracy? Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Hawkeye all had the same question in their minds. Hulk and Thor, on the other hand, were not suspicious, not only because they were simple-minded, but also because of their strength. Hawkeye volunteered first, Then let me start, hiccup, let us also see the abilities of the Asgardian gods. Captain America and Iron Man have special identities, they certainly cannot be guinea pigs. Black Widow is a girl, and Hawkeye is indeed the most suitable. The other people understood what he meant, and they couldn't bear to agree with him, nor did they have the heart to stop his good intentions. What? Find someone else to receive the enhancement? What an international joke. Isn't it obvious that Jacob is not trusted? If it goes wrong, it will offend the pride and self-esteem of the gods, and a thing that may bring great benefits to the earth will be ruined. What's more, this gentleman can control 16 Chitauri dragon warships, which is an important defense force for the earth today. Just based on this point, it is not enough to express distrust of Jacob. Hawkeye's sacrifice is actually worth it. And Hawkeye's words have hidden meanings, raising Jacob's behavior to the level of the Asgard gods. Jacob can't bring shame to Asgard. Thor is a single cell. When he heard this, he immediately said, Lance, I'm optimistic about you, hiccup, let these Midgardians open their eyes. Thor actually has another little trick in his mind. He and Jane Foster, a female scientist from Earth, are in the stage of passionate love. But the lifespan of humans is less than 100 years, which of course makes Thor very worried. He has also sought a way to extend Jane's life in Asgard. But there is no result. It seems that Lance Jacob seems to have a way. He is now a little worried. Naturally, he wants to try it. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lan Zai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 594. In the Avengers, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Hawkeye have the same problem, low defense and low health. Iron Man is protected by armor, so it's better. Black Widow and Hawkeye are actually always very dangerous, and they are easily killed in high-level battles. Even low-level battles are actually not safe, and they all rely on the protagonist's halo to cheat. They can have the strength of level 3 because of their outstanding combat skills, and the black technology weapons equipped by S.H.I.E.L.D. are also good. In terms of attack alone, they can even reach level 4. They are just dragged down by defense and vitality. About half an hour later, inside the Stark building, everyone who has almost digested it is observing Hawkeye, who has been strengthened by the life essence. His body has been tempered and is close to the advanced level 2, Xiao Ming's life essence has improved a lot more than before. Even if there is no specific data, it is very intuitive when used on Hawkeye. This is also because Hawkeye has a good foundation. His physical attributes, attack, defense, agility, and life have all been upgraded to the advanced level 3 or the elementary level 4. If the shield is not counted, he has surpassed Captain America by a small margin. This is enough to surprise Black Widow and others. But then, Hawkeye, who obtained the telekinetic seed, showed the telekinetic power of the transformation system. The attack methods will be more diverse. In the arrows shot, with the telekinetic ability of the transformation system, various special attacks can be carried out. For example, explosive arrows, ice arrows, etc. The transformation system is still a neighbor of the strengthening system and the embodiment system. Hawkeye's telekinesis can also play 80% of the effect in the strengthening system and the embodiment system. The strengthening system telekinesis can directly increase the attack power of the arrow, and when Hawkeye has exhausted the arrows he carries, the embodiment system telekinesis can make arrows to use, ensuring that he has continuous combat effectiveness. Hawkeye's improvement is comprehensive. Of course, these are still prospects for the future. With his small amount of telekinesis in the initial stage, he can only use telekinesis in the most critical places. To apply telekinesis on a large scale, Hawkeye needs to practice unremittingly. Although Xiao Ming could directly improve his telekinesis level, he did not do so. It is better to keep a hand in everything. Xiao Ming and the Earth Avengers have not yet established a deep trust relationship. Lance, this telekinesis is very powerful. It is not magic, How come I have never seen it? Where did you learn it from? Thor did not care about the bonus of telekinesis. His own divine power is several levels higher than telekinesis. He is very interested in the source of telekinesis. Prince, this is what I have come into contact with in an unknown world. There are many masters who use telekinesis in that world. Xiaoming knows that there are many different worlds in the Marvel Secret Realm, and Asgard alone controls 9 worlds. It is easy to accept the claims of other worlds. So Xiaoming popularized the world of Hunter x Hunter to them as a new thing. In fact, it is just a scam. I also mastered this ability later, but unfortunately I can no longer contact that world. Alas, this is such a pity. I still want to meet masters from different worlds. By the way, your master Netero, who do you think is better than me? Sol is a standard fighter, and he cares most about who is stronger. President Netero's personality should be in tune with him. However, it is hard to say when it comes to combat effectiveness. Supernatural energy has a higher combat bonus at home. If they fight at home, both of them should be able to win. But if neither is at home, Xiaoming's cheap master's chances of winning are not high. Netero's combat skills are better than Thor, but Thor is the god of thunder, with high defense and thick blood, and it is difficult for Netero to kill Thor. Not to mention, Thor also has the foul artifact Meow Hammer. Once it comes to a war of attrition, the president will still suffer a little. After all, he is a mortal body and cannot outlast the gods. In addition, the current president Netero has actually reached his peak and even started to decline. Thor, who is more than 1,000 years old, is still very young. He is far from reaching his peak state. Thinking of the comparison between the two, Xiaoming felt sorry for his master. The Avengers from Earth will not accept Lance Jacobs' enhancement immediately. They will definitely observe Hawkeye for a while to confirm that Jacob has not done anything. It is completely understandable that you must be on guard against others. Xiaoming also left a shadow clone in a teacher's uniform for Hawkeye's training. Thor trusted Lance very much and took Xiaoming to meet his girlfriend as soon as possible. Jane, Doctor, hi, Daisy, you are here too. This is my companion, comrade in arms Lance Jacob. Lance, let me introduce you, this is Jane. Thor took Xiaoming to a faraway place and met his girlfriend, Dr. Jane Foster. And Dr. Eric Selvig, and Jane's best friend / assistant Daisy Louise. Jane is indeed the woman that Thor has set his eyes on. She is so beautiful that even Thor is attracted to her. Dr. Eric Selvig is an acquaintance of Xiaoming. He also participated in the Battle of New York and met Xiaoming. It was Xiaoming's credit that he was able to escape the control of Loki's scepter. Eric is very grateful to Lance Jacob. Xiaoming still inherited this interpersonal relationship. That Daisy is also a beauty. Thor talked about the matter. Jane and Eric were still a little hesitant. Daisy, on the other hand, was very excited to ask for enhancement. Thor looked at Xiaoming with some embarrassment. He brought Xiaoming to enhance his girlfriend, which was a reasonable request. After all, he was the Prince of Asgard, so he always had this face. However, if he asked Lance to enhance Daisy again, Thor felt that it was a bit too much. Xiaoming didn't care. He made dozens of drops of life essence every day, and he didn't tire himself. Besides, Daisy's life energy was also quite good, so he helped Daisy to enhance it. Of course, in terms of physical quality, Daisy was far inferior to Hawkeye. Before the enhancement, she was a scumbag. After the enhancement, she barely reached the level of Hawkeye. Before the enhancement, the intermediate level of level 2. It seems that she is not made for this. Xiaoming thought that it was okay to give her the life essence, but he shouldn't waste the super energy seeds on her. Daisy didn't know what she had missed. Her enhanced physique was enough to make her jump 3 feet high. She rushed up to hug Xiaoming and kiss him. There was no other meaning. Daisy was the kind of passionate and unrestrained European and American woman. Although Xiao Ming thought she was a good person, he didn't like her too outgoing personality. He avoided her without saying anything. As a Chinese, Xiao Ming still liked the reserved and restrained style of China. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 595. With Daisy's example and her boyfriend's guarantee, Dr. Jane Foster no longer hesitated and drank Jacob's life essence directly. The protagonist is different. Her physique has reached the advanced level 2, which is a little stronger than Daisy. And Xiao Ming also gave her the seeds of magic. Asgard's magic civilization is quite powerful. Thor's adoptive mother Frigga and adopted brother Loki are both masters of magic. As a daughter-in-law, Jane should have the opportunity to systematically learn Asgard's magic. Xiao Ming's arrangement is kind, but he doesn't understand the plot or Jane's personality. Jane is a firm scientist. She may not be willing to learn magic. It is also unknown whether Asgard is willing to teach magic. Of course, Xiao Ming's intervention will inevitably change the plot. It is too early to say how it will develop in the future. Even Daisy has been strengthened, so it is not easy to ignore Dr. Eric, an acquaintance. So he also drank the life essence and upgraded to the advanced level 2. If they encounter a petty thief or a local hooligan in the future, they can easily deal with him. Several people are very enthusiastic to retain Lance Jacob. In addition to thanking him for his help, they are probably more interested in the body structure of the Aesir. Thor is often stared at by them with a researching look, which is very embarrassing. He feels like an animal on display. He is still willing to be watched by only Jane with passion. Forget about the other two. It is also good to have Lance to share the pressure with him now. Therefore, Thor also uses public power for personal gain. On the surface, he asks Xiao Ming to protect these people, but in fact he is passing the buck. Xiao Ming certainly can't stay in the secret realm all the time. Leaving a shadow clone can handle it. These three mortals can't tell the difference between the shadow clone and the original body. Thor can see it, and can't help but regret a little. Why didn't he learn magic well in the beginning? How useful it is. After exiting the game, Xiao Ming's original body entered the state of cultivating spiritual energy at Guangmingding. The Insect King is still playing with Xiao Xiao. Xiao Ming returned to his daily life, family, games, and cultivation. July 12, Tuesday. Silver Xiao Ming logged into the role of a diver, Huang Xiao Ming logged into the role of a dead person. It was time to go to the shipwreck site once a week to move the wreckage of the ship. The two roles needed to coordinate and cooperate. This time, Emily did not come because she had to learn magic from the four-armed Naga wizard Jerry. Octopus Boy Bobby was kind-hearted. Seeing that the diver brother was a little pitiful, he took the initiative to accompany his brother to play. In fact, after going to the shipwreck site many times in a row, Xiao Ming was still full of energy because he could get a lot of good things every time. But Emily and Bobby were still children. After the novelty, their interest had gradually weakened. Going to the same playground every week would get boring after a long time. If Emily didn't go, the time the divers stayed in the shipwreck site would be reduced by January 3rd. It was a pity. But Xiao Ming would never force Emily to go with him. It would be a big waste to reduce the favorability for such a thing. Nearly 100 shadow clones were left to do the task, which was the hero inauguration task that required the production of 300 weapons. The main body set out to find treasure. As soon as the diver left, a large group of sea children in the temple followed him. They just happened to take advantage of the diver's ride. Of course, they couldn't go to the shipwreck, but the octopus boss's place was also very fun, like an underwater zoo. Recently, the diver has become famous in Greystone Town. Many sea children admire the diver brother, especially after he grew 4 arms. Many sea children have fixed themselves on the diver and refused to get off. Some rode on the Naga's tail, some coiled on the diver's back, and each of the forearms held 2 or 3, which was fine. One of the little squids was so naughty that he blocked the diver's entire face. He also giggled non-stop. No matter how strong Xiao Ming was, he didn't dare to use it on them. Converted to human age, they were all 3 or 4 children. The oldest is only 6 years old, and they are very delicate. If you use a little force, you will be afraid of hurting them. Fortunately, Xiao Ming does not need to see the road with his eyes, and he can see more clearly with his circle than with his eyes. Of course, we can't let these troublemakers off easily. Xiao Ming turned Iron Blood Neza into dozens of mechanical arms and tickled all the little guys. Hee hee, ha ha ha, ah. How can a child bear this, especially a mollusk like a squid? After laughing a few times, he fell off the diver. Xiao Ming stopped tickling those who fell off. Unfortunately, no little guy was willing to learn a lesson. He fell off, laughed for a while, and breathed evenly. He immediately pounced on them again. Xiao Ming was not polite either. He continued to tickle those who pounced on him, and the cycle repeated. A group of sea creatures came to the territory of the octopus boss with laughter. Seeing that there were other things to play with, the little guys scattered. Only little Bobby and the little squid sister stayed. She was still coiled on the diver's head, but she finally changed her position and exposed the diver's mouth and one eye. A huge tentacle reached out and communicated with the diver's mind for a few words. She learned that the mermaid girl Emily was learning magic and couldn't come. The squid girl refused to get off the diver's head again. The octopus boss was very reasonable and gave Emily's chance to the squid sister. The diver can still get the longest exploration time. Xiao Ming was overjoyed and rushed into the shipwreck with the 2 little guys. Seeing such a big treasure, the squid sister also jumped off the diver's head and swam over to a pile of shiny things. Xiao Ming quickly split into 2 shadow clones, each following a little guy to hunt for treasure. The main body hurried to move the wreckage of the ship. At this time, the researcher cooperated with the diver. The wreckage of the ship that was moved out was piled up in the fishing city of the Li family. Why did the role change? The situation is like this. Huang Xiaoming logged into the informant, intending to cooperate with the diver to move things. Before this, the informant was under the control of the intelligent program and was gradually clearing the map where Jenny's city was located. During this period, Huang Xiaoming suddenly remembered that Xiaoming had placed a pile of ship wreckage between Pingnan City and Jenny's city. I don't know what's going on now, so I use the mental scan to check it out. I was surprised to find that the pile of ships was occupied by a wild monster force, and it seems that the force is very strong. It's a bit interesting. It may be a plot arranged by the system for the dead, so Xiaoming set the dead to lead the troops to check. It is estimated that it will take a day to reach the location. It's not good to throw ships all over the ground during the march. Xiaoming thought about it and decided that the business of moving the ship wreckage this time would be completed by the researcher. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 596. Strategic Map, East Asia, Diaokan, Admiral's Mansion, Martial Arts Hall. Li Huamei was fighting with Richard. Although Richard had the Cosmo of a bronze saint, his close combat skills were almost zero. He didn't know how to attack or defend. Li Huamei had to teach him all these. Fortunately, Richard had a high level of comprehension and soon realized how to use the Cosmo in ordinary moves. He exerted a combat power close to level 5. Li Huamei was excited to see the prey, so she fought with Richard for a few moves. Although the skills were still unfamiliar, the attack with the Cosmo was very fierce, the defense was also very solid. Now there were few people in the Lee family fleet who could take Richard's punches. You know, just last night, Richard was only a level 2 lich. A spiritual professional, physical attacks were not good enough. Now he has a strength close to level 5. This change is really huge. Li Huamei was happier about her lover's improvement in martial arts than her own martial arts improvement. At this moment, I suddenly heard a lot of noise in Diaokan. Countless people were cheering and shouting, but I didn't know what it meant. Just when I wanted to send someone to find out the news, several sailors ran in and said panting, "Admiral, ships, ships, so many, so big." Yes, the researcher, Huff, he, performs magic tricks, so many ships. No, not good ships, but broken ships, large broken ships, boss, go and have a look. I probably understood it. Li Huamei knew that her third brother had done something again, and it was big news related to ships. She must go. In a moment, 7 or 8 fast horses rushed out of the admiral's mansion. They arrived at the dock in an incense stick of time. However, there were already crowds of people here, and it was impossible to get through. "The admiral is here, get out of the way." That is, Li Huamei had face, and the crowd made way for a passage. Before she was halfway there, Li Huamei had already seen the wreckage of a dozen large ships piled near the dock, all of which were still wet. It seemed as if they had just been salvaged from the bottom of the water. It was Xiao Ming's work. After becoming sworn brothers, Li's Diao city was equivalent to half of the researcher's hometown. It was not a waste to pile up the wreckage here. And there was a great advantage here: the whole city was full of human NPCs with relatively high intelligence, and there were enough of them. It was easier for them to find useful things in the wreckage of the ship. It was also easier to clean up all the benefits. Unlike the city of the undead, the ships near Pingnan City have not been cleaned up yet. The efficiency is really outrageous. Of course, it would give up some of the benefits if it was placed in Diao City, but it was worth it if the benefits were given to the Li pirates. The admiral of the Li pirates was his elder sister, and the Li pirates were the researcher's backer on the strategic map. When they became stronger, he would also rise with the tide. This is a real win-win situation. Look at the researcher moving the ship with great concentration. Li Huamei quickly led the generals to divert the crowd and leave enough space for the researcher. Who knows how many ships the researcher will conjure up? Anyway, the more the better. "Third brother, put the next one over here." Li Huamei saw that there were already 20 broken ships piled up on the spot. In order to make it easier to clean up, she quickly called the researcher to move to another place. Xiao Ming followed the advice and moved several hundred meters away in an instant to continue moving. Over there, Yan gave an order and rushed to the pile of ship wreckage with nearly 10,000 people together with James and Xingju. Song Xiaofeng, the little girl, also squeezed in. What can she do? She just went there to make trouble. The researcher quickly said to Li Huamei, "Sister, tell them not to damage the hull. I can repair these ships." "Don't worry, third brother, Yan has long known that you can repair ships. He knows his limits." After thinking for a while, Li Huamei sighed and said, "You should have discussed this with me in advance. If this news gets out, our Li family will be at the forefront again." Richard suddenly said, "Mayor, it's actually good. Now all forces are worried about who we will attack first. If they know that we have obtained a large amount of underwater wealth, based on the logic of pirates, they will definitely think that we are busy making money and not preparing for war." "Mr. Li is right," Yang Ziyu interrupted. "As long as we release the information that we have salvaged a large number of underwater shipwrecks, everyone will think that our Li family is busy making money. I will arrange it now." Several people arranged the next step in a few words. The researcher only listened to a few words and thought it was amazing. But he didn't have time to interrupt. The shipwreck site has a time limit, and Xiao Ming didn't want to waste it. Although he wanted to explain to his elder sister and second brother, there were too many people around now, so it was not the time to explain. This time, Xiao Ming transported a total of 62 large broken ships and 4 medium-sized broken ships. There were 3 large piles at the dock of Diaokan. However, judging from the speed at which the Li family pirates moved things, it is estimated that they would not be able to move everything out tonight. The next inventory work may take some time. After finishing this, the researcher was naturally taken to the admiral's mansion by the eldest sister. Along the way, countless people cheered the name of the researcher. Now most people in the Li family will respect him. It was still a secret meeting of the 3 siblings. Xiao Ming explained these things. Tell them that their 4 characters, explorer, researcher, diver, and teller of the dead, are close friends. They are like one another. As game NPCs, they also smoothly accepted that humans, sea tribes, and even the undead have become close friends. Xiao Ming said that moving ships is a cooperative skill between the 4 people, and they can transfer items to each other. It was the diver of the sea tribe who just transferred the wreckage of the ship on the seabed to the researcher. Li Huamei suddenly realized that it was no wonder that Xiao Ming could get a large ship before. It turned out that it was from the seabed. To be honest, Li Huamei had worried before, wondering if the researcher was deceived and used by forces other than the Ming dynasty. Li Huamei can still rest assured about the character and loyalty of the researcher himself. It's just that she can't help but worry that he will be deceived by outsiders. Li Huamei knows very well that Western forces have been infiltrating East Asia, and there are also many local people who have been used by them. Some pirates in East Asia are thugs of Western forces. If the researcher is also in this situation, it will be troublesome. Now I finally feel relieved. It seems like he is definitely not a thug of the Western forces, but could he be a thug of the Sea Clan or the undead? Li Huamei started to speculate again. But even if he is a vanguard, he would not give out so many things to support the Li family pirates. This is obviously an act of aiding the enemy. So the possibility in this regard is not great. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 597. No matter how many concerns there are, the immediate benefits are real. The cargo and treasures in the ship are also a large resource. However, the more valuable are the wreckage of these large ships. In order to facilitate repairs, Xiao Ming salvaged the ship with a completeness of at least 60%. Such a broken ship is very valuable for the shipbuilding craftsmen of the Li family. Although the Li family can neither repair large ships nor master the technology of building large ships immediately. However, after studying these shipwrecks, they can accumulate a lot of technical experience in shipbuilding and combat experience. Through the structure and equipment of the ship, the Li family can have a considerable understanding of Western ships. Knowing yourself and the enemy, you will never be defeated in 100 battles. Of course, these are all later stories. At present, the Li family will only arrange a small number of people to calculate the cargo in the ship. Others have to prepare for the battle against the Rice Hima family in full swing. If these goods are sorted and sold by the Li family, the profit will definitely be much higher than if Xiao Ming sells them himself. The money was divided equally between Li Huamei, representing the First Fleet, the drillers, the Second Fleet, and the divers, the forces of the Huiyan Town Temple. In fact, this way of dividing the money, all parties have room for bargaining. But these 3 parties are too lazy to make such an effort. Why not do something else with your own people? You are just bored. This distribution is the best. In addition, if you see fragments that may be high-level items, all of them will be handled by the drillers and divers. Of course, the Li family has the right of first refusal. Richard and his wife are not stupid. When they saw that the drillers were interested in the incomplete items and thought about the repair of the big ship, they naturally guessed the drillers' abilities and intentions. Xiaoming actually did not hide that this benefit was originally intended to be shared with the Li family. At the beginning, the explorers and the branches of the Huo's Chamber of Commerce also had a similar agreement, and they had always cooperated well and made a little money. Unfortunately, the explorers were later abducted and taken to Liangshan. This agreement can no longer be followed up. The drillers brought such a huge benefit to the Li family this time. Of course, the Li family will reward according to merit. In addition, this time Li Huamei also accepted the super energy seed and obtained the microcosm like her husband, so this contribution should also be counted. Li Huamei is indeed the absolute protagonist. Her microcosm directly awakened to the level of the 6th level Silver Saint. And she also awakened a very powerful force. A power that can stun all the people in the entire Admiral's mansion with just momentum. Among them, the only two who can persist without fainting are her two sworn brothers. In terms of age, Richard is actually much older than Li Huamei. He used to be Li Huamei's teacher. However, considering that Li Huamei is the admiral of the Li family and the head of the family, it is not good to let her be a sister, which will easily reduce her deterrence. So Richard is willing to be humble and become the second brother. Besides, he has been reborn as a lich, and it seems that he can be more casual at this age. If he didn't do this, Li Huamei might not be able to awaken this power if a teacher/big brother appeared beside her. Later, Xiaoming learned that this power was the Hao Wang Haki in the One Piece world. It was originally a hidden power, which was stimulated by Xiaoming's super power seed. The normal process should be that Li Huamei will awaken this power after the Li family pirates completely defeated the Ladeo family forces, dominated East Asia, and obtained the certificate of the hegemon in the East Asian waters. Unexpectedly, this domineering color domineering was stimulated by Xiaoming's ability in advance. Of course, Li Huamei is not the only one with this potential. This is an era of heroes competing for supremacy. Even players can participate in the competition for the certificate of the hegemon. But players may not necessarily have the potential for domineering color domineering. In case, the player himself has this potential and obtains the certificate of the hegemon, then he may really awaken the domineering color domineering with the help of the system. Regarding domineering, Xiaoming had only seen armament haki on Yuji and Guanghan Zhaozhou before. He is really good at it. Xiaoming was very envious of this and focused on analyzing Li Huamei's domineering. Unfortunately, no matter how he tried, Xiaoming could not simulate the domineering color domineering. With the foundation of the Insect King, Xiaoming is indeed a king. However, there are many kinds of kings, and not all kings are qualified to have the domineering color domineering. Xiaoming's lazy and wretched personality, even if he is a king, he is not a domineering king. If even he can have the domineering color domineering, then the 4 emperors in the One Piece world will probably cry in the toilet. Xiaoming once simulated the murderous aura of the alien, and scared a reincarnation named Wolf King out of the reincarnation space. But this kind of murderous aura is okay for bullying the inferior reincarnations, but it is useless when facing the sea-level reincarnations, and it is completely different from the domineering color domineering. Fortunately, Xiaoming is not the kind of person who loves to entangle. If he can't simulate this, then give up. Let's see what he gains first. Li Huamei clearly distinguishes between public and private. The rewards were distributed in 2 parts. On the public side, the researcher obtained 3 construction blueprints of medium-sized shipyards. The original small shipyard can be expanded into a medium-sized shipyard. In addition, 3 blueprints of large Chinese sailing ships were obtained. The Li family itself has not yet mastered the construction technology of large ships, but it can issue blueprints of large ships as rewards. This is a situation that is almost ridiculous and only occurs in the game. Because the actual reward is issued by the game system, not the Li family. Neither the Li family pirates nor Xiaoming's characters have built a large shipyard. The power situation does not allow it. The Li family has a medium-sized shipyard, but Xiaoming only has a small shipyard. There is no large shipyard, but there are blueprints for large ships. Where to build it? If you encounter a large shipyard of other forces in the future, and the other party allows it, you can use their equipment and manpower to build large ships for yourself. But the cost must be high. This is the development path prepared by the system for Li Huamei. First, establish a certain sphere of influence in East Asia. The Li family will obtain blueprints for large ships. Then go overseas, at least sail to the Arab region, to turn these blueprints into large warships in reality at a high price. Then, relying on the advantages of large warships, return to East Asia to defeat the Lateo forces. Seek further development. This is a long process. However, the Li family is full of talents. As long as there are no strategic accidents, it can still be done. In addition, there is a spy Richard sent by country E at the beginning. He would help the Li family grow, but once the Li family and E country become enemies, he would rebel behind the scenes. This spy was able to gain Li Huamei's trust because Li Huamei lost her beloved Richard, and saw a little bit of her lover in Richard, so she was deceived. This was originally a big disaster for the Li family pirates. Now that Richard has been resurrected, Richard has no chance anymore. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 598. Of course, it is difficult to simply deny the character of Richard. After all, he will try his best to help the Li family pirates become stronger. Although he has other purposes behind him. We can't completely erase the help others give us just because they have some ulterior motives. That would be too heartless. Besides parents, when there are a few people who help you, they don't have any purpose. Those who can do it are the best friends. In ordinary interpersonal communication, it is normal for others to have ulterior motives. At least before the Li family confronted E country head-on, Richard could be said to have done nothing to hurt the Li family pirates. Even if he betrayed Li Huamei, it was just for each master. This was his original position. Merit is merit, fault is fault. If there are faults, there should be punishment, and if there are merits, there should be rewards. Speaking of it, this would be a bit sad story. However, because Xiaoming resurrected Richard, this story that has been programmed will not happen again. At least it will not happen in the Li family. Of course, the programmed program will not be wasted, and Richard will find other people to invest. Richard, who was resurrected as a lich, is stronger than Richard in all aspects. He can also get along with both sides in diplomacy. Doing business with multiple countries at the same time is much better than only receiving the support of each country with ulterior motives. Back to the issue of rewards. Xiaoming does not lack large ships at all, so there is no need to build ships. I don't know when the reward of this blueprint can be used. Fortunately, it is not limited to the researcher himself, and it can be sold to make money. The blueprint of the medium-sized shipyard can be used immediately. According to the rules of the game, on the strategic map, after the small shipyard is built, it can be upgraded 10 times. The higher the level, the more types of small ships the shipyard can build, and the better the properties of the ships. At least a small shipyard above level 5 can be expanded to a medium-sized shipyard. There is no doubt that the best shipyard is to expand to level 10. However, starting from level 5, the upgrade of the shipyard will consume a lot of resources, and it is very difficult for some major forces to upgrade to the full level. Although the big forces have enough resources, there are many places to spend money. They still need to invest carefully. They will not upgrade too many shipyards. Generally speaking, they will build the best shipyard first, and then build others when they have spare capacity. Although Xiaoming has a lot of resources and gold coins, he is reluctant to spend money like this. So among his many cities, only Funnel Village, which was under the command of the earliest accuser, upgraded the small shipyard to level 8. The small shipyards in other places are only around level 3 or 4. He was reluctant to spend the money for upgrading to level 5. Now Xiaoming only plans to upgrade the small shipyard in Funnel Village to level 10, and then expand it to a medium-sized shipyard. As for the others, upgrade them to level 5 first and prepare, and then consider whether to upgrade to a medium-sized shipyard when needed. In addition to the blueprint rewards, the Li family also gave rewards in terms of military strength. The researcher received 50 level 3 bald eagles. This is a special level 3 troop in Diaogan. The level 3 troop in a normal human city is a griffin. The bald eagle is a special tier 3 soldier of the pirate specialized city, Diaogan. Its specific attributes are similar to those of the griffin, but it can get comprehensive bonuses in terms of attack, defense, speed, and vitality at sea. The most outstanding thing is that the bald eagle has a production type skill, fishing. When going out to sea, it can add food to the ship every day. This is a very useful skill for a fleet at sea. So the Li family themselves are reluctant to use it and have been saving it. It is not easy to get 50 of them now, and all of them are given to the researcher. It is also a big investment. In private, Xiaoming helped the eldest sister and the second brother to improve their strength, and Li Huamei also had a thank you gift. And it was very suitable. She got a batch of various tier 2 corpses to match the researcher's ancient transformation technique. Among them are more regular corpses of elves, orcs, and undead, as well as less common corpses such as sea fishmen and underground cave dwellers. They even got some corpses of beast soldiers with higher intelligence. There are wild boars, eagles, and flying dragons. The ranks are not only second level, there are also corpses of third and fourth levels. Although Li Huamei knows that the ancient transformation technique of the researcher is only in the initial stage, it can only fuse corpses below second level for the time being. But it will be upgraded in the future. These corpses are specially collected. There is no use for them to keep, so they are all given to the researcher. Xiaoming accepted the corpses and was very grateful. It is quite difficult for him to collect such high-quality corpses. Those who can be fused by the Transformation Atlas must be free NPCs, and soldiers and creatures are not allowed. And Li Huamei will not kill innocent people indiscriminately. It took a lot of effort to get these corpses. As for which two to absorb, Xiaoming has already made up his mind. One swims in the sea and the other flies in the sky. This is obvious, and the eldest sister has also considered it. The corresponding types are also prepared 2 or 3 to choose from. The Transformation Atlas does not accept the corpses of wild beasts. It's a pity for that pile. The most suitable person to go to the sea is a fishman from the sea tribe, and the most suitable person to fly is a batman from the orc tribe. Although Xiaoming also envied the beauty of the elves. But for now, practicality is the main thing. The researcher used the Transformation Atlas to absorb the 2 selected corpses one after another. He obtained 2 new identities. White Common Hero, Murloc Alfonso, Strategic Profession Level 0, Level 7 Sea Warrior, Adventure Profession Level 2, Level 9 Warrior. Green Elite Hero, Batman Wanyan Hui, Strategic Profession Level 1, Level 17 Archer, Adventure Profession Level 1, Level 15 Archer. Murloc heroes are hard to get. So the corpse of a common hero at level 0, level 7 is already good. Batman is relatively more common. Li Huamei got a green elite hero corpse. The level is also very good. Compared with the grey useless hero Saeed, both are good. Saeed's strategic profession is level 0, level 2 Barbarian, Adventure Profession Level 1, Level 13 Thief. With such qualities, Xiaoming was too lazy to help this identity level up. Later, he basically forgot about it. However, the 2 identities of Murloc and Batman have certain training value. Not to mention that they are 2 races that can go up to the sky and down to the sea. When the three primary record positions of the Transformation Atlas are filled, the system gives a prompt. The strategic professions and adventure professions of the three identities must be trained to level 2 or above. The Transformation Atlas can be upgraded. Only then can more record spaces be obtained. Damn, Xiaoming just felt overwhelmed. This is too tricky, right? The researcher's own strategic profession is not even at level 2. He wants to train all three transformed identities to double level 2. It's simply a fantasy. Let's not talk about how much time it will take. So much experience, wouldn't it be a waste if it is not given to the researcher himself? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 599. The new transformed identity gives the researcher a lot of freedom. In the future, he can not only reach the moon in the sky, but also catch turtles in the 5 oceans. And needless to say, most tasks are actually restricted by race. With the 3 identities of half-orc, orc, and fishman, the researcher can accept more tasks. The future game will be more interesting. For example, when doing something bad, the researcher can pretend to be an orc or a sea tribe, and will not cause trouble to the Lee family pirates. Of course, the transformation also brings a problem. Only the researcher himself has the identity and skin of the pirate admiral, and the 3 transformed identities do not have it. The skill of ancient transformation is used as a spy. If you still have the identity of the admiral after the transformation, wouldn't it be all exposed? This restriction brings some trouble to the researcher. He cannot transform while leading the fleet at sea. Once transformed, he will lose the identity of the admiral, so the second fleet will be in a state without a leader and cannot move. With other generals and navigators, the second fleet will not fall into chaos. It just stopped in the sea and couldn't sail. So Xiaoming needs to be very careful and can only transform when the fleet is already docked or anchored. Before transforming, the daily work of the fleet must be arranged. These are things to worry about in the future. Now Huang Xiaoming controls the researcher and turns into a Batman to fly to the sky to show off. Think about it carefully. The researcher has the iron blood Neza, and he can actually fly. It's just that the skill is poor, and the flying is not as smooth as those who are born with wings. Xiaoming can just use the Batman's form to get familiar with the way of flying with wings. Yesterday, the researcher took the shadow clone and rushed to complete the task of making puppets for the Lee family. More than 600 puppets were done in a few hours. At that time, my jaw dropped to the ground, and I also gained a lot of experience. Normally, there should be some gold coin rewards without this task. However, as the admiral of the squadron, the system defaults that he no longer needs this small amount of gold coin rewards, so all the focus is on experience. The adventure level of the researcher has risen to level 2, level 10. Xiaoming put all his free points on agility. 5 attributes, strength 11, constitution 11, agility 13, intelligence 22, spirit 23. After reaching level 2 and level 10, you can actually go to the professional guild on the adventure map, where you should be able to learn some blueprints and skills. This matter is more important, and Xiaoming doesn't want the intelligent program to do it. It's just that I'm a bit busy for the time being, so I have to wait until I have free time to deal with it. Of course, I also got a little strategic experience, but it's a pity that it's not enough to upgrade to level 1 and level 6. At the same time, under the sea, the diver operated by Yin Xiaoming has left the shipwreck and returned to the Greystone Town Temple. When he went there, a large number of children from the sea tribe followed him, but when he came back, he was alone. Everyone stayed at the octopus boss's place to play, and even Bobby didn't come back with him. It's a bit pitiful. Yin Xiaoming silently worked as a blacksmith with many shadow clones. 300 weapons are easy, but 300 fine weapons are difficult. However, Xiaoming found that after the shadow clones were governed by the spiritual kingdom, the efficiency of making fine weapons was improved. 300 fine weapons are expected to be completed ahead of schedule. Xiaoming is already used to the scene of hundreds of shadow clones working together. But Tom Jiryui and his wife were shocked. However, even if there are hundreds of shadow clones to help, this matter will take several days. Because Xiaoming wants to use a larger proportion of fine products to deliver the task, so that he can get a better hero template. Originally, Xiaoming planned to go to the Protoss God realm. This thing is related to the alien Protoss light spirit. Xiaoming is very interested. However, when he was about to use this rite, he suddenly had a whim. It seemed that something major was going to happen. Xiaoming had to put aside the matter of entering the God realm for the time being. He was on guard with all his heart and soul, wondering what would happen. He waited until the evening. Xiaoming felt something and quit the game. He boiled a pot of spiritual tea at home. Yes, Xiaoming is no longer satisfied with only cultivating spiritual fruits. He asked Xiaolu to expand the business to various fruits and vegetables, as well as rice, noodles, and tea. In addition, Wen Ji likes to drink coffee, and Xiaolu also planted some in Guangmingding. After waiting for about a cup of tea, Sister Hongqiao came and left, waving her sleeves and taking a bag of tea. But she didn't take Xiaoming's things for nothing, and the points in the alliance increased by 3 points. A small bag of spiritual tea is actually worth 3 points. Xiaoming and his team completed a task of fighting werewolves, and each of them only got 1 point. The thing that Xiaoming exchanged for Zhang Chen's blood was left on the table, a black and ugly metal lump, with a distorted shape, as if it was twisted hard. And this thing is also old, and the dust and silt outside have not been cleaned. From the perspective of scientific archaeology, these dust and silt are also worth studying, as long as it is not deliberately made old. Xiaoming stared at this thing for a long time, during which his sister Xiao Jing'er came out twice and Wen Ji came out once. They all stayed with Xiaoming for a while, and soon gave up out of boredom. Even Sister Hongqiao didn't give any advice on how to deal with this thing. Everything was up to Zhang Xiaoming to decide. Xiaoming could feel that this thing was very unusual, but he didn't know whether he should use source energy to restore it. His own intuition told Xiaoming that this matter was of great importance and needed to be handled with caution. For this reason, Xiaoming deliberately went to the Yellow Emperor Galaxy to feed the light spirits and save some character. During the process, Zhang Xiaoliang's adjutant, Cecilia Jane, looked at Xiaoliang with admiration. Xiaoming guessed that the Zerg corpse he placed on the Scientific Research Space Station was probably discovered by the military. His silent warning was confirmed. Xiaoming didn't know how the top military officials would deal with it, but the adjutant admired Xiaoliang even more. Xiaoming took a closer look at the appearance of the adjutant, and found that he was very similar to Dr. Jane Foster in Marvel's Secret Realm. This is really a bit unexpected. The names and looks are similar. Could it be that the adjutant is a fan of Dr. Jane? Or are they really related by blood? Oh no, it's none of your business. 12 o'clock in the evening. Xiaoming was mentally prepared and used 3 heads and 6 arms. 6 hands pressed the strange thing and began to use 3 kinds of source energy at the same time. Want to restore it to its original state. See what a treasure it is. Extraordinary things have extraordinary things. Sure enough, unexpected changes occurred. When it touched Xiaoming's triple source energy, this thing seemed to melt. It has changed into something like a pile of mud. It invaded in the opposite direction along the origin of the source energy, passed through Xiaoming's body, and entered the depths of Xiaoming's soul. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 600. Jiang Xiaoming was only slightly surprised when his soul was invaded, and he was not too worried. The reason is simple. If there is danger, his intuition would have reminded him long ago. This time, his intuition did not remind him, which means that this matter must be harmless. This is not an invasion, but an absorption and fusion. If his intuition is not accurate, then what else can he say? He deserves it. Watching the thing gradually disappear, Xiaoming retracted his 3 heads and 6 arms and immersed himself in the depths of his soul. He was very nervous. There are only a few things that can go deep into the depths of the soul. The best is the source energy seed. Xiaoming doesn't mind planting one more tree. More importantly, it can have one more soul. As the things at hand become more and more, one more soul will improve the efficiency of doing things. The second is to bloom another flower on the soul tree, that is, to have one more special ability. Whether it will become stronger or not is not a big deal. Xiaoming already has a lot of abilities, and any one of them is the way to be a strong man. It's just that he doesn't have that persistence. What Xiaoming likes more is to have one more fun ability. It can make life more interesting and exciting. The worst is the residual soul, like the remnant soul, hiding in the depths of one's soul to take advantage. However, as long as the other party has no bad intentions, it doesn't matter if Xiaoming pays a little source energy. The other party's insight alone is worth the price. In the end, none of these 3 situations happened. To be precise, it should be a combination of the first and second situations. Next to the 3 source energy trees, there is an extra flower pot with a blue cactus less than 10 centimeters high in it. What is this thing? Through the feeling of the soul, Xiaoming already has the answer. This cactus must also be related to source energy. It is blue, different from the color of any source energy Xiaoming has, that is, it is a new source energy. However, it is not a tree rooted in the depths of Xiaoming's soul, but a pot of cactus. This shows that it is not a source energy seed, but just an ability. Xiaoming has heard the situation mentioned by the remnant soul. The 3 major races of human, god and insect have mastered certain permissions of Fuxi Qin, but the use of this permission is strictly restricted. This cactus is a manifestation of this situation. It has a certain amount of source energy upper limit and can also self-recover. However, the use of source energy is fixed. Xiaoming cannot use the source energy at will, let alone condense his 4th soul with it as the core. Alas, it is still too beautiful to think about it. The closer Xiaoming gets to this cactus, the more familiar this ability is. This is the ability of space jump. Xiaoming has experienced various space jumps, being teleported by the reincarnation space, teleporting in the game, teleporting from Qinglong Town back to Pangu Star, even Xiaoming's own wormhole ability. These are different manifestations of space jump. No wonder it feels so familiar. This cactus has less than 10 centimeters of source energy, which makes people feel so miserable. It is estimated that it is only enough for one jump, and the distance cannot be too far, otherwise the energy is not enough. And after each jump, it takes a long time to accumulate source energy before jumping a second time. What a useless ability. If it is a short distance space jump, Xiaoming has the bright summit and the wormhole to use. Unless he is seeking excitement, he will jump around regardless of the destination. But that does not suit Xiaoming's character. Xiaoming is not that bold. Whether it is the main body on Pangu Star or the Worm King of Shu Galaxy, it is impossible to take such a risk. Both sides are big families. After roughly understanding this ability, Xiaoming suddenly lost interest. So he thought about withdrawing from the depths of his soul and slowly studying this ability later. Anyway, there is plenty of time. Suddenly, the blue cactus gave Xiaoming a strange feeling, as if it kept calling him. This feeling is so strong, this is the so-called major event. Xiaoming's intuition has never been so urgent. Silver Xiaoming stayed to guard the main body, Green Xiaoming guarded the Worm King, and Huang Xiaoming, who can be distracted, responded to this call. Swish. Huang Xiaoming didn't need to open his eyes, he felt as if he had a body, and his body was in a closed state. This feeling is so familiar. Oh my god, this is clearly the game chamber. Circle, mental scan, two major reconnaissance skills are released at the same time. It took him a moment to understand the environment he was in. When the circle was just released, Xiaoming sensed that this body was his own, or to be more precise, a copy of Xiaoming. Well, in fact, Xiaoming's copies are everywhere. Because of the incident of attracting the light spirit, many forces are copying him. Could it be that this was done by a certain force? Could it be that this force has some conspiracy against him? So his intuition led him here? Interesting, Xiaoming is a little eager to try. His skills seem to have a place to use. In fact, it is also because of Xiaoming's strong mental power that he can think about so many random things in a very short time. But then, this guess was broken. Because there is a game chamber on each side, the people who are sleeping and playing games in it are not others, but Xiaoming's parents. And it is the original. Not a copy. With Xiaoming's current ability, he can easily distinguish the difference between the original and the copy. At least the technology of the new Han Kingdom couldn't fool him. Long time no see. Xiaoming's eyes filled with tears. As far as he knew, the two elders had been sent to the spaceship for immigration to Wolf 359, Starfield 3 years ago because of their participation in the Sheneng project. And they had been frozen and hibernated earlier. Now seeing them, there is probably only one possibility. That is Huang Xiaoming's soul, through space jump, ran to the immigration spaceship. Ran into his own copy. Sure enough, as the circle expanded, Xiaoming clearly saw that he was in a huge shuttle-shaped spaceship. The technological level of this spaceship is quite advanced. Such a gorgeous structure, high-end technology, and artistic style are not the products of the new Han Kingdom at all. In Blowing Sting, Xiaoming used to think that the immigration ship would be like the dispatch team of the Yellow Emperor Galaxy, with limited space and everyone crowded together. The result was not. The space in this spaceship was quite spacious. The game cabin of Xiaoming's family of 3 was placed in a large suite. This suite was clearly a new home prepared for them. The same is true for others. A suite is a family. The minimum number of people in it is 2, and the maximum number is 5 or 6. The rooms of a family with more members are bigger. But there is one thing, almost everyone is in hibernation. Only about 10 people are active. They are all wearing handsome uniforms, going back and forth between the spacecraft, probably doing maintenance work. It seems that everything here is peaceful. It is quiet and peaceful. Why was I summoned here? Could it be that my parents missed me?